Well, good morning, people. Good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, or even good evening. This is Mick Ruby and the crazy world of football transfer news and everything that goes around Manchester United. What a crazy week of football we have, and boy, does it feel good to be a Manchester United fan. But we're here to talk about transfer news and the latest surrounding Manchester United. Of course, it's the 9th of January today, and we are officially 9 days into the transfer window that shuts down in the 31st. We have a lot of things to talk about, from debunking Weghorst transfer news that actually exploded over the weekend and caused a lot of controversies around the socials, to update you on the Jao Felix situation, to speak about a little bit of the rumor mills about Harry Maguire being linked and going out to Aston Villa. We have a lot of ground to cover today, people. Hence, I will present you first with this factual evidence, and then we will go to the panel, and then I might bring in a guest, which is now James. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for some transfer news? Come on, again. Let's go. Get into the game.
So you're very heavily linked with Frankie de Jong.
Any of the injured players got to be available for the game this weekend, but they're still out.
You want Frankie? No, it's about the right place, and there are many, but I cannot give comments on the player who's on the contract in another club where we are.
Again, a very humbly good morning, and you know what? Maybe it's afternoon wherever you're sitting, but let's take a sip on our morning brew of your choice. I'm taking a sip on my coffee, and while I'm doing that, please hit the like and subscribe button and share if you like so, and do so. The choice is up to you. Well, that was yummy. In fact, let's start with the positives. A fun fact is, when we look at it, we look back at the season. Ever since we lost against City back in September, Erik ten Hag has now a 72% win ratio. Wow, nobody expected that. As a matter of fact, when you look at it, it's 17 games. Out of those 17 games, there's about 14 wins. Out of those is 7 in a row recently, 2 draws and 1 losses. That is impeccable form. That is just momentum that keeps growing. I posed a question to you. Who would believe that? Would you believe that? Because according to my humble opinion, nobody did. Everyone was writing us off. And that is why the manager, Ten Hag, needs to be backed. I asked you, fan base, a few months ago, you would say, no, you're crazy, huh? The pundits, they would say, hell no, they wrote us off, and they never believed, And what about the Glazers and John Murtaugh? Have they done this part to put us in this position where we are today? Arguably, yes and no. Yes, by giving Ten Hag his summer's signings in the transfer market in the summer, but no, there's a big but. Always a big but when it comes to the Glazers and Manchester United's transfer activities and movements, and the politics to act as a club. You see, over the weekend, John Murtaugh and Richard Arnold were speaking out and to say there was no major investments going to happen in January. Also, we saw that they want to introduce a salary cap, because saying that FFP, there won't be any spendings. We need to consider FFP in January. We want to have a salary cap of maximum 250 a week. Ironically, from my opinion, look who's talking. I'm posing the question, look who's talking. Wasn't it you, John Murtaugh, that did the overspending in the summer? That paid 100 million for Anthony? That overpaid for Martinez? Well, you could have done these earlier and saved the club about minimum 50, 60, 70 million, amongst others. And now you're coming here to say that, no, we cannot sign anyone because overspending and FFP and stuff like that. But yeah, as a fan, I get the frustration. I'm also a fan, but I see it the other way around, from a realistic perspective, that this summer was all about to back Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag got his transfer targets in this summer. So therefore they're overspending. There's no money in the coffers to give Ten Hag, only loan deals. I'm cool with that, because at the end of the day, I can take another Glazenomic bid, loan bid or low transfer fee, as long as the Clowns gets out of the club. So you can argue to the fact that yes, Ten Hag's been backed in this summer, but now coming to the point that nobody expected, and we are in a position where we're actually challenging for the title. We're challenging for the second, third, or even fourth. The season is now kicking on, and rivals are losing points. We are unbeaten. We are in an impeccable form. What you gonna do about it? Are you gonna support the club? Yeah, I don't think so. So Ten Hag is left to cook with what he's got. That's just my humble opinion. Let me know what you think. Alright then, let's get straight into the transfer news. This is what everyone wants to hear because it's January. What about Harry Maguire? Let's talk about Harry Maguire, as exploded over the weekend that he was spotted first to have lunch with his agent outside an Aston Villa training ground close by. It went viral, but the fact is it got shut down very quickly. The fact is that there might be some truth in it, according to my opinion, because I always see from a realistic perspective, there's no smoke without fire, and if you're an agent, you're always looking out for your client's best interest. We all know that Harry is not favorable by Erik ten Hag, becoming fourth or fifth choice as a centre back. He's evidently shown that on the pitch as well by bringing in Lisandro Martinez, pairing it with Varane, means that less game time for Harry Maguire. And it's my personal belief that there's no smoke without fire again. Although everyone has come out to deny the rumors, which is absolutely fine by me, to protect themselves. That's normally what you do because Harry is employed contract by Manchester United. You just don't come out to say that we are fishing for a better club, a better deal. But in fact, who can afford it? From a Glazenomics perspective, he's on a 200k salary per week. He signed a 7-year contract. His agent was quite clever. He's got 4 years remaining on the contract by my understanding. So if anything, or anyone can afford it for a cut price, we can sell him off for 45 million. It's a loss, but who can afford to pay him the 200k wages? So it's come out to say that it's a smokescreen, not fire. I don't know. For me, I see Harry still being able to do a job and to help Erik ten Hag and the team for the remainder of the season, since we're playing, let me see, 3 games per week until mid-March. It's going to be crucial. We need rotation, so Harry could do a job 100% and then reassess in the summer. So I wouldn't put much more into it. I know there's been linkage ever since summer that he's been looking for a new club. He has not been selected. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Please send me your chat messages here, and we can debunk it after in a few minutes away. Cool. No, listen. Let's talk about Wout Weghorst to Manchester United. In what we've seen, hit us with the curveball of the weekend, exploded like wildfire across socials. For me, it seems a little bit odd. That caught us by surprise, like wildfire. He got linked to Manchester United, but then it died down, it played down a bit by either reports coming up from his agent yesterday as well. There's clips of him on going viral, then him saying goodbye after scoring his goal in Besiktas to the crowd of Besiktas crowd, saying goodbye, waving his farewell, but his agent saying that it's not the case. It's heavily overplayed, and there's for me even more funny, ironically, it's overcomplication being the fact that he's actually a Burnley player in loan out to Besiktas, and why would Besiktas then loan him out to Manchester United without any compensation? So this is kind of a little bit of a complex deal to be made. Yes, the player might be dreaming of playing for United, who wouldn't? But the story has kind of died down a bit, and this is why I believe why. The main target you see for me, it's always been who's been following the factual timelines and events, it's that Ten Hag wants pretty much his main target is Jao Felix. You know why? Because it's been heavily linked ever since the summer that that he sees Jao Felix as a vital player to can play number 9 as a shadow striker in his system. And from a Glazonomics perspective, it does make sense as well because it's a big commercial shirt seller signing. If we look at from the Glazonomics perspective, of course, Jao. Of course, I mean not Jao, but of course, Wout Weghorst offers something completely different, and it's kind of an unorthodox style. He's predominantly a central striker, a fox in the box. He's 6'4" something tall. He's a Peter Crouch 2.0, if we look at that sense of humor side of it without being demeaning. But look, there's been some numerous reports within the 48 hours also that to say that, Jao Felix and Manchester United has 48 hours to, say yes or no to Atleti and George Mendes, to say otherwise they will go to Arsenal. So we need to accept the bid. It's for me, it's just the, transfer tactics 101. Atleti CEO Marin has also had meetings, also has reported with George Mendes over the week, where it's led to believe that, they're willing to let Jao Felix off the hook for a hefty loan fee, but also to cover the full salary wages, and with a preferred option to buy clause in the contract. But in a way, Arsenal and United are not that keen on the idea. It's kind of January where we're looking to fill the squad. It's bodies. We're playing 3 games a week, so we need somebody, to cover, to fill up the squad. And it's kind of like a try before we buy. It's according to my opinion. So it's quite normal that you use Arsenal's name, you use Manchester United to pressure, to trigger the deal. But we also seen evidently that Arsenal's prime goal is to sign a permanent deal for Mudryk, and that deal is kind of heading to advance. So what I'm trying to say, it ties into the silly season and the transfer tactics, where agents are feeding to the press, club is feeding the agent and the press, so that Atletico gets the message that, hey, we have alternative, and the target is Weghorst. But it also, ironically, the response back from Atleti, where Marin comes out to say that, hey, we might even consider keeping Jao for the season, although he's not really favoured by Simeone. But hey, we might keep him for the season. So football transfer negotiation, tactics 101 as it best, as it's silly season. Let's just see what happens. Now, right, what about the Felix situations? Well, that is it. We are waiting. Can we afford to have Felix? Yes, both can be used. Why is it so? People saying we are stint. You emptied all the coffers. But what people are not thinking about is, in any type of business, when you hire somebody, you set the wage bill. Like you set a budget for that hire, like in any employment contract. Let's say, just use Cristiano Ronaldo as an example. We know that he's got 15 million to the remaining of the season. He left or he got fired. And then as a replacement, we know that we still have that 15 million operational costs to cover the wages. So the way we go about in, when we hire somebody new, we make sure that it fits that operational cost. We will not go over the 15, but if we, hire, let's say, Jao Felix for 13, 14, we actually save 1 or 2 millions. Does that make sense? So from a budget perspective, that's absolutely BS. We can afford to get Felix in, and we also can afford to get Weghorst in. But either way, if Weghorst comes, for me, I'm cool with that, because that offers something totally different, and I back the manager's decision. If Erik ten Hag knows his targets and what he wants and how his system's going to play, I'm 100% backing that, but also looking at why we shouldn't sign Jao Felix is also something that just transpired recently, with Donny van de Beek got injured. Currently on the number 10 position, as the shadow striker, we only have Bruno Fernandes. Bruno needs backing, considering we're going to play 3 games a week. you know, so it's crucial that we actually get in Jao Felix on the number 10 position. But anyway, that is just my opinion. So let me know what you think. Let's bring in Niall James. Let's see what he has to say, and let's go to your engagement, people. Niall James, good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Hi Mick, not bad yourself, mate?
Not too bad. I had some breaking coming through from Arsenal's side. They're closing in on Mudryk. Just now, I saw that now, which is fine. I mean, as I said, Mudryk has always been, Arsenal's prime target, and now we're
Yeah.
seeing also Bowley's going after Thuram as well. So you see how the transfer market is transpiring, how it's also saying the Bowley is now shocking around United's target as well, which is Weghorst. So it's kind of funny that Todd Bowley only goes after United and Arsenal's targets. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said Weghorst and not Jao Felix.
Yeah, so in certain sense, there's been a lot of talks about the two-player loan that we cannot, loan 2 players at the same time in January window. And what do you have to say about that? And let us debunk that.
Yeah, a lot of people have been asking me about it on Twitter. They've been coming at me telling me what the rule is and this and that when it isn't the case at all. So with this 2-player loan restriction, it is simply domestic-based loans. So,
Yeah.
for instance, we've already got Jack Butland in now, so that's used up one of our 2-player loan allocation. With Weghorst, because he's actually owned by Burnley, if we are loaning him, that would be player number 2. So that means we cannot then get anyone in on loan from the English Football League. That is it. So that does not exempt us then from going out to abroad to France, Italy, Spain, Germany, and bringing a player in loan from there. So if we get Weghorst along with Butland, we can still go and get Jao Felix from Spain on loan. So it is it is essentially just domestic-based restriction of 2 players on loan.
Yeah. And also considering we have a very tight schedule, we're playing 3 games a week. Rotation is key, right? So we can absolutely get 2 loanies in, but not from the domestic league. That's for sure.
Yeah, we can get 2 in from the domestic league, from our domestic leagues, and then we can get as many as we want from abroad, basically.
Good morning to you, Henry. All right, Mick. How are you keeping up, dude? Yeah, dude. Yeah, very good, dude. How are you keeping up, Henry? Where are you calling from the world? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good morning to you as well. Yeah, that's fine. But what about I have my realistic thoughts about it's too complicated with agent coming out and playing out to say no. Weghorst is a Burnley player, and then Besiktas said we want compensations coming out. They want about 5 to 6 million euros for this. It's just too complicated for me. And as I said, sometimes they create smoke screens to divert from from Atletico to say, look, we will not accept what you want. We have other targets.
Yeah.
We've seen this happening so many times before. But anyway, if Weghorst is the opportunity, if Weghorst is the target, I see him offer something completely different to what we currently are playing. But at the same time, if we look at Erik ten Hag, how we converted Haller, which is a tall striker as well, just as a fox in a box. What's your take on it? I mean, what do you know about Weghorst, and what do you think he can offer to Erik ten Hag's system?
Well, with him, if you remember when, I mean, it's probably swearing saying this name now, but Ronaldo. There was quite a few times where you saw Casemiro getting the half space just before the final third, and he'd look up and whip a ball into that 6-yard box, and Ronaldo was never there because he was playing too deep and he didn't have the pace to get back into the box. So I think we'll see a lot of that with Weghorst up top, along with Bruno, especially when he's put out wide. He'll be whipping them in, Dalot, Shaw. So we've got that height option. But people are worrying, thinking, oh my God, we're just going to be pumping the ball into the box to Weghorst, blah, 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 blah. It's going to ruin our style. It's not how Ten Hag wants to play. But what you need to realise is, I have mentioned this on another show. At the moment, we're suddenly getting 3, 4, 5 players in the box when something comes in from the byline. So with that ball coming in from the byline or out wide, if we're getting these numbers into the box, that can still be beneficial because that could be lofted up into that 6-yard area, and Weghorst doesn't have to attack it. He can just simply knock it down, and there's 3, 4, 5 players there to pick it up and finish it. So he gives us that option. But what I do worry about is with these reports regarding the compensation for Besiktas, because it seems to be indicating that we're the ones going to be paying it.
Yeah.
Now,
but
I would have presumed it would have been
coming
Aston
out
Villa
that
paying
we
it.
have to pay him. We have to pay him 10 million like outright just to buy him instead of loaning him. That's what I saw this morning as well. Which is like,
there's been contradicting reports this morning because one's saying buying permanently and then others are saying loan. But for me, if Besiktas want compensation, they're totally entitled to that because there was no recall agreement in the loan deal with Burnley. Yeah. So for me, it should be Burnley paying that compensation to Besiktas, and then it should be Burnley then coming to the table with us and saying, look, we've had to pay that to recall him so you can have him. So we want X as a loan fee and an extra million to sort of reduce that compensation they've had to pay.
Yeah.
But so even if we're talking £4 to £6 million, be it compensation, loan fee, or buying outright, for me that means Felix is dead in the water because we're wanting to negotiate Madrid down to what, about £6-7 million. So if we only had that for Felix, if we're spending 4 on Weghorst, be it a loan fee or compensation, then where's the money for Felix? We're not going to be able to negotiate them down to 2 million. So I do worry on that front. But as you mentioned with Haller, he was a flop, considered a flop at West Ham. And then he was leading goal scorer in the Champions League with Ajax under Ten Hag. And I do have an interesting fact about Weghorst that might shock you. Obviously, we can rule out the Burnley season because we know that was poor, wasn't it? Got 2 goals in 20 games. But if you look at his record before and since, he's actually got just over 1 goal every 2 games in his career. Because at AZ in Holland, he played 60 games, scoring 31 goals. At Wolfsburg in Germany, he played 118 games with 59 goals, so half again. Yeah. And at Besiktas, currently on loan, he's played 16 and scored 8, so half again. So he's scoring 1 goal every 2 games, which is actually pretty phenomenal. Now, obviously, it is league dependent and team style play dependent, because obviously if you're playing possession football, you might not have them chances, but it looks good. It means he can finish.
Yeah. I mean, I remember he scored against us in the beginning of the season as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that was one of his.
It has to be Weghorst. Yeah, but he's also quite fast. It's like, okay, you're tall, you keep the ball. Yeah, I mean, you're good in the box, but also good when outside the box as well. Yeah. It's quite fast for his.
Do you remember the World Cup? It was one of the knockout rounds.
Yeah.
Penalties. He came off the bench and scored 2 or 3 to get them into extra time and penalties. So he can finish.
Yeah, he can. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If that's the case, if he's coming, I'm backing Ten Hag based on that. Ten Hag is, a track coach manager. You've seen what he's done with Haller as an example. I mean, based on the facts that you're saying, but it's offered a totally, completely different of style what we want to play. But then yet again, why would we then go out and pay this money to Burnley and to Besiktas, and then it's coming out that we have to buy him for 10 million or whatever that might be? I see that just potential smokescreen because it's kind of dying out a bit. Because at the end of the day, if you link the transfer market into what Arsenal is doing right now, as I said, Mudryk, it's the prime target. If they get Mudryk, the gloves are off of Jao Felix. Now Chelsea,
I don't think they'll go for Felix if they get Mudryk.
No. And then Chelsea's now going for,
because Chelsea was flirting with the idea, weren't they?
Yeah, and Chelsea's now going for Marcus Thuram, okay? And also saying that Chelsea's now also, as a secondary option, going for our target, which is pretty much Weghorst, yeah? So what I'm trying to say is to give you the dots, how it's connecting and interchanging in the transfer market, right? So in all only, like, this got hit, I was shocked, like, okay, but at the end of the day, I had a thought about it and I say, well, it's not about shout, like, if it's for 6 months coming.
I was just going to say that We can accept it for 6 months because he's already 30. We don't want this same cycle again. And
No.
if it's permanent, then I wouldn't be happy about it. But for 6 months, I think he will do a job under Ten Hag, and then he can leave, and we can go and get a bigger target in summer.
Guys, let me know what you think in the chat, on the comments below. Henry saying good morning to Niall.
Hi, Henry. You all right, mate?
Yeah, he's watching from Ireland. Brilliant show. Top of the morning to you, Henry. Ireland. Top of the morning to you. Hope you're having a crack. So yeah, I mean, for me, we just have to wait and see because loan deals can be triggered very fast. I think the stumbling block right now is regarding Jao Felix is Atletico Madrid, what they want in terms of fee. But considering the caliber of the player, we actually can get him in for quite a good price. If we can get a deal of 8 million, a loan fee plus covering his wages of about 6, knowing that Cristiano Ronaldo's budgeting cost, as mentioned earlier, is about 15 million, that is actually covering. There's no actually money spent because those money's been operational budgeted already, so you're not taking anything, right? Unless you don't want to replace him, that is 15 million to the Glazers' pocket. We don't want that either. And I don't think that Erik ten Hag, that got snubbed over targets before, will allow this to happen. So I'm thinking he's banging his drum as hard as he can, because as I said, nobody was expecting us to get to the point where we are today. Not even media, not even pundits, not even hell our fan base either. But here we are today. So what are we going to do about it? So let's just see. It's Monday. Things are moving left, right, center. The latest thing I saw on right now is Modric is getting very advanced with Arsenal. Arteta is coming out feeling confident. Chelsea was also going in for it, but they backed off and going for Thuram. So yeah, that means that it's an open door for us for Jao Felix and potentially if we can get both. Do you think that's possible to get both?
No, not if we're paying a 4 million loan fee or anything like that for Weghorst. Then I don't see how we can get Jao Felix because that would mean we'd have to get Atletico down to about 3 million before wages. I can't see it happening. As much as I know Atletico Madrid their price will lower with every passing day and week up to the end of the window because they want him out. But if another club comes in before then, we're screwed. And will they even go as low as what we're going to need now? We're looking behind the couch if we get that cost. We're looking for change.
Sorry, thank you for the light. Thank you. I see the light. Yeah, it gets very dark quickly here all of a sudden, like, where I am. I'm in Thailand at the moment. So all of a sudden it just gets dark like quickly in sunset. Yeah, fair enough, mate. So listen, how confident are you moving forward? Do you think we're going to make some big signings? Do you think Erik ten Hag is not going to do any signings, realistically speaking?
I think if we get in Jao Felix, then it's only the one, along with Butland, who we've already got. If we don't get Felix, I could potentially see 2 coming in, be it a Weghorst and someone else, or Weghorst is off the table and it's 2 other people. But I mean, there was obviously that report that got deleted last night, wasn't there, about Maguire going in January?
Fahim Faisal saying media. Fahim Faisal says media seems clueless. Ice. If we need to pay 5 to 6 million, then pay it for Felix. It's a wiser investment. That's very, very logical. And yeah, big up for you, Faisal. How are you doing?
It is because clearly Erik ten Hag wants Felix because it got reported after the summer window that we actually lodged a bid of 130 million, was it, for Felix? So if we're going to put that much money in, the boss clearly wants him. Now, if we're going to get him on loan, say it's 10 million all in with wages for 6 months, and then we buy him for 60, 70 million in the summer, we've still saved 50 million there from what we tried to bid last year. So,
would you rather
it's last year now, isn't it? We're in January now.
Would you rather see that in the clause that a loan with the option to buy, or you have to buy? Because
I'd prefer. Go on.
Go ahead.
I'd prefer it to be an option to buy because we know sometimes players just can't adapt to a new league. Simple as that. Now, our style would be better for him because he's really restricted there. It's dulling down his numbers and everything, playing 20% football, possession football with Simeone. But on the other hand as well, if he's coming in for these 6 months now, he's getting used to that league, bedding in, and then theoretically he can hit the ground running from day one next season, rather than we don't have him on loan and then we put in a big bid of 100 million in the summer, buy him, and then we've got to wait 3 or 4 months until he's got used to it. So I'd prefer the option to buy in case he just can't do it in this first 6 months, rather than be forced to keep him then with a player that's not going to be able to cut it. And we can have that leeway. If he's done well, right, we'll pay for him then. Thank you. You know what I mean?
But that seems to be the stumbling block from Atletico, like, with the, with the CEO Marin. He actually wants he wants a loan with buy clause in, right, after 6 months. And this is kind of where it's sitting at the moment, the negotiation, because United and Arsenal will say, no, we don't want to buy. We have an option to buy with the first refusal clause, which is more.
It did start off that they didn't want any option at all to buy from Atletico's side. They just wanted it alone, and that was it. You don't even have an option, let alone mandatory. But now it has changed apparently to mandatory, hasn't it?
That must be that Simeone has told you, I don't want him.
No, he doesn't. That's what I mean. That fee is going to get lower and lower as the window goes on. But it's just, do we get in there before anyone else? Can we negotiate them down to what we can pay before anyone else comes in? I don't think we probably could, especially to get Weghorst.
This is what John Murtough is good at, the grinding, wait and wait and drag it out and get it to a cut price.
Yeah, but he did that for Anthony for 3 months, and then we paid double. So it doesn't work. It's a tried and failed method, season upon season.
Doesn't work.
We still end up either paying the same money anyway or more.
Yeah. But for me, I keep hearing there won't be any investments. It's clear and evidential that they're coming out. We have to look at January FFP. And that was what I said earlier was that, John Murtough, you put us in the space in the first place. So who are you to come out and say that we fans have to suffer? You overpaid for Anthony. You sat on your hands for weeks. Same with Lisandro Martinez. Same for everything. The only thing that came out swiftly was actually Casemiro. Cool.
I want to say something on that FFP quote from Murtough or Arnold, whichever it was, because I think it's a lot of bollocks. They're just using that to shove us away, really, because not many people really truly understand FFP. I don't even think FFP really understand themselves. So I think they've used that because no one's going to know about it. They're not going to bother to research it. They go, oh, fucking hell, great, we've got no money, we can't even do that. But FFP ruling is based on 3-year periods. Now, I'll use Chelsea as an example with Todd Bowley. In the summer, he was the new owner. He theoretically could have spent, let's say their FFP limit is 250 million each season. He could have gone and spent 750 million pounds in the summer. Granted, he wouldn't be allowed to then sign anybody for the next 3 years. And the only way he could is by selling players, and he can only then spend what he recruit by selling. So you're telling me that because we spent 200 million in summer, we can't spend again in January? No. That's a load of shit. Because the revenue we make, we've got the biggest revenue in the league. We could, if I remember rightly, it was something like our FFP limits, we could spend 300 million every summer, and FFP wouldn't blink an eyelid. So if you then do that over a 3-year cycle, that's 900 million. We only spent 200 in summer. Why would we be failing the FFP?
You're calling it BS in a nice word. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And the salary and the proposed salary cap on 250. It's also. Do you think that's the direction of the new owners, or do you think that is kind of to say, hey, we've been badly operating run, throwing silly wages, now nobody's going to get more than 250? But in the other hand, does that restrict us to buying such as Mbappe's and stuff, or maybe that is not Ten Hag's way of moving forward? Maybe Ten Hag will get those cheaper grassroots players and nurture them and develop into top Mbappe's, for instance, as a layman's term.
Yeah, with that, it can work. It could be 2 ways, and one of them is a scary way. But I'll start with the scary way. You always end on a positive, right? So the scary way is...
Take the scary first.
Is this...
Good evening.
Is this a way... Is this a way for the Glazers to hold on a bit longer because they'd have a bit extra money by saving on all these wages.
Hmm.
But then on the other hand, the positive one, you would like to think it's a direction the new ownership wants to go in,
Hmm.
because for 17 years, why have the Glazers never thought about a salary cap to make themselves some more money? Why have they
True.
never thought about that? Now, they
Facts.
wouldn't want a salary cap, because if they did, they wouldn't be able to get the likes of the players you just mentioned, Mbappe's, Neymar's, blah, blah, blah,
Hmm.
because they'll be wanting 500 grand a week. Now, they like that. They're happy to spend them wages because they make a lot more in shirt sales in the first day.
Yeah,
And that's why
100%.
they never buy people like Julio Alvarez, Moses
Hmm.
Caicedo, who's the other one? That's like Shesko and stuff like that. Because if they
Yeah,
brought them in, they're not going
it's
to
not
sell
shirt
shirts
seller.
straight away. But what they don't realise is, right, they might not buy it now, but when that player's playing for us for that season, and the fan base goes, wow, we've actually got a gem here, what a player. Following season, everyone's buying that shirt. So you're going to get them
Yeah.
shirt sales anyway, just 1 year later. But they're not
Yeah, but
interested.
just look at City, what they're doing. They're buying unknown players as well, and they
Yeah.
make them superstars, right?
I mean,
So they
Liverpool had success, haven't they, with a salary
true.
cap? Because they had
Yeah.
one to a degree, didn't they? They didn't buy
Mm.
superstars. Mo Salah was
Mm.
considered a Chelsea flop or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Just like Kevin De Bruyne at City. So they've not been getting superstars.
Yeah. I'm going back to my super chats here. Some contribution from Nicholas saying getting both is wonderful. I prefer Weghorst to Martial leading the attack. Yeah, we covered Weghorst. Yeah, big up for your comment, Nicholas. Nicholas comes to another comment to say FFP Manchester United makes more, so I see no reason why we should be scared of
Yeah,
FFP.
it's a
Yeah,
smoke screen. It's just to feed. No, as they say, feeding mushrooms in the dark and all that lot.
yeah.
That's all they're doing because people don't understand it, so they just use that. See
Mm.
ya, you can go away now. Sorry, that we've got that problem. We can't do
Yeah,
anything. Of course we
yeah.
can.
I mean, this is part of the Realist TV as well. We are creating a community where we share information, we educate ourselves as well. So thanks Nicholas for sharing that, and thanks Niall also for sharing your insights. Now moving forward, of course, we keep forgetting that we have a game tomorrow, Charlton. I
Yeah,
almost forgot.
quarter
What's
final,
your
isn't it?
quarterfinal?
Yeah,
Quarterfinal silverware. We're advancing in the FA Cup as well. As I said, 17 unbeaten almost.
yeah.
Yeah, I said 17 unbeaten. That's a big impressive. Not
That
unbeaten. We have one loss.
one.
One loss, yeah. So
Yeah,
Erik Ten Hag is cooking, and we are
sure
cooking
is,
too.
right? And the good thing is about the FA Cup draw last night. Obviously, City knocked out Chelsea, so that's Chelsea out of it.
Uh,
But then City have got to play Arsenal then, so that's another big one out of it. So basically, we've only got City or Arsenal, depending on who wins that tie, and
hmm,
potentially Liverpool. And right now, you'll take Liverpool over anyone, wouldn't you? Because
yeah,
they're in a
I
mess.
would.
So if
They are.
we could do with Arsenal beating City and then Liverpool beating Arsenal, and then hopefully
Yeah,
we meet them.
they
But
had a
let's
little bit
see.
luck with VAR, with the VAR controversies,
Yeah,
against Wolves.
I mean, I'm
It's
happy it was a draw, really, because the
yeah,
more games they've got to play they don't want, the funnier it is for us.
right. So in terms of, I don't think we will not do a show about that tonight or tomorrow. So let's just do it here. In terms, how do you see Erik Ten Hag lining up in terms of his rotation? Do you think you will see a lot of kids playing, considering it's Charlton, or do you see a
I'd
lot of B
Normally I'd
squad?
say yes. If it was like the third round, something like that, I'd say yeah, you'd really rotate heavily. But it's a quarter final. You're one game away from the semi, which is then one away from the final. So I think he might do a 40-50% rotation. I think we
Hmm.
might see Maguire and Lindelof at the back with Malacia and Wan-Bissaka maybe.
Hmm.
Maybe a McTominay or a Fred comes in centre midfield if
Oh,
Casemiro rests.
do you see an introduction to Martinez getting in game time? Do you see also Dalot getting game time as well,
Well,
considering they've been out?
yeah, could do. I mean, they might do just to get that match sharpness up. I mean, maybe Varane plays as well for that same reason. See, it's a
Garnacho on the
difficult
left.
one because a few of them need match fitness now, get match sharpness. But yet, on the other hand, it's only Charlton, so why don't you want to? You'd rather rest them for City game. And Garnacho, I
Hmm.
think, will probably start.
Garnacho
Why
on the
not?
left.
Yeah,
Martial on the top, on the right, Anthony as well, right?
Yeah.
Or
Anthony will have to have another game to show himself
midfield,
again.
Casemiro.
I'd like to see Casemiro rested,
Yeah,
and I'd like to see Bruno rested as well, personally. But with Donny van
that's
de Beek injured as well now, it's
and that's why
difficult.
we need a Jao Felix to rest Bruno
Yeah,
as well. Hmm.
exactly. And he can cover for Rashford on the left. He could cover
Hmm.
for Anthony on the right. He can cover for Martial up top. He's a
Fahim
utility
Faisal.
player, which sounds weird saying about
Yeah,
him.
just going to go to the bench warmers. Fahim Faisal says there will be no VAR for tomorrow's game. Yeah, 100%. There won't be no VAR.
Cool.
Tom Heaton in goal, maybe.
No,
De Gea. No,
no,
no.
Scotland.
Okay.
Because I'm only saying that because I saw a quote from Ten Hag. I think it was the same day or the day after Butland signed, and he said about he is going to look to see which keeper out of Heaton and Butland is
Mm,
going to play in the cup. Now it
okay.
didn't happen in the FA Cup, so I assume he meant this game tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I
All
see De
right.
Gea being rested.
All right. Well, I bet I better let you go back to your day. It's midday in UK, isn't it? Like lunchtime.
Yeah, yeah.
People that missed our morning show, you can catch during your lunch break. Of course, it's on YouTube. It's on repeat. Just to catch summary, what we discussed about is the overall um, development in terms of Weghorst, our thoughts and opinions on Weghorst as a player, uh, also our thoughts and opinions regarding Jao Felix. We also spoke about the rumor mills about Harry Maguire, which turns out to be a little bit of false smoke screen. And we also talked about, what did we talk about? The FFP, the salary caps.
FFP,
We covered a lot today for a Monday
the
morning.
loan restrictions.
Yeah. And
So
we
what's
covered a
your
lot.
score prediction
Yes, I
tomorrow?
was coming to that because people let us know your score prediction. I have comfortably 3-0.
Which way does it work on the camera? Which way is the right way?
Oh, I never get it. I never get it.
4-0 for me.
4-0 for you.
Hmm.
I go 3-0 because if we're not lining up the first team, there will be 3-0. Well, we'll see. At the end of the day, it's 3 points that matters.
Yeah.
Semi-finals, here we come, baby.
I
What do
mean,
you
I've been
reckon?
very positive the last two score predictions. I can't believe
You
it.
have been. Unbelievable.
What's Ten Hag doing to me?
I am the realist and I've been very positive, but it's a reverse effect. Like Mick is more conservative nowadays.
Yeah, it swapped around, hasn't it?
Listen, people, enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, we have a late one. 4-0 Manchester United. Henry supports you, mate. Henry, big up,
Yeah,
Henry. Enjoy Ireland. Enjoy the weather. I am enjoying sunny Thailand. It's hot. It's 30 degrees. I heard you have a freezing cold out there in
yeah.
UK at the moment, Nine. So,
Manchester, it's freezing and wet, as
yeah.
usual.
I send you all some warmth through DHL Express. Lots of love from Mufc Realist TV. We are a community to grow. If you want to join our community, the links is there in the description. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to share. It's it's optional, of course. It's not mandatory, and keep coming back for our content. Listen, guys, thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time, Niall. Have a
Cheers, everyone.
fantastic
Cheers,
day.
Mick.
Cheers, everyone. Bye bye for now.
See you later.
Cheers. Sign up. Bye. Oi, oi, oi. Thank you for watching MUFC Realist TV and this episode. Listen, if you really like what you're seeing, please continue watching other content that we provide because it's unique content providing by a fan for the fan, allowing you to be real red for real with real opinions because at the end of the day, we are MUFC Realist TV. Even better, if you want to join our community, make us better, play for the team, hit that join button. Together, we will grow and make it better. Thank you for watching. And by the way, support the team for God's sake, because that's what we do here. Cheers.